I'll try to keep my questions short. Let me start with...
I share your voice today, Chuck, so good health to you.
Thank you, sir. Is this a retreat? I mean, on one hand, it's a tactical, looks like a tactical retreat. You guys had set a precedent. You thought that anytime you raised the debt ceiling, it would be $1 for spending cuts for every dollar in debt ceiling raise. That is not what you got this time, and you have put the focus on Senate Democrats, a political tactic, perhaps a very successful one. But is this really a tactical retreat?
No, I don't think so at all, Chuck. And I was curious to hear Steny's comments about this being a gimmick. 86 Democrats supported the bill that we had on the floor yesterday, the no budget, no pay. So clearly they didn't think it was a gimmick. This was a bipartisan effort. Look, if you look at the goal, we've got to get our fiscal house in order. We've got to balance the budget. And in order to do that, the Senate actually has to produce a budget, which they haven't done in nearly 4 years. The House has had budgets for each of the last 2 years that actually get to balance. So what we did in this bill is to say to the Senate, look, you got to do a budget. Families do budgets, businesses do budgets, employers do budgets. The Senate has not done a budget in nearly 4 years, so this is the challenge for them to do a budget so that the American people can compare the solutions, the real solutions that we put on the table, and I believe the solutions that the Democrats put on the table in the Democrat-controlled Senate that the American people won't want. And that's the importance about this, so that we move forward in the new debt ceiling discussion come May and put in place real solutions.
Well, in a perfect world, the way Congress works then is you guys have your budget, the Senate has yours, there's a conference committee, and you hash it out, and you end up somewhere. Maybe it's 60-40 the Senate's way, maybe it's 60-40 your way, maybe it's 50-50. Are you okay with that? You know, there's been this assumption that House Republicans will not support something that isn't, say, 75 or 80% of what they want.
Well, what we'll support are real solutions that solve the fiscal challenges that we've got. Look, we still have 7.8% unemployment. We've had 4 straight years of trillion-dollar-plus deficits annually. We've added over $5 trillion to the national debt in the past 4 years. We can't continue down this road and expect a vibrant economy and jobs being created, which is the real issue. We've got to get America back to work, and the way that you do that is with real solutions that address the spending challenges that we have in an honest and sincere way.
Let's go back to the word compromise. Are you willing to compromise? Are you willing to get 40%? You arguably, when it comes to the sort of the 3 levers of budgetary power here, the White House, the Senate, and the House, you only control 33% of it. Are you willing to take 33% of what you want?
We're the minority party in Washington, there's no doubt about it. We're willing to talk about whatever it is that actually gets us to a solution. The problem that we've had with the Democrat-controlled Senate in the last 2 years is that they haven't produced a budget. So there's no way to even talk about a compromise as you're working with the Senate, because they don't even say what they believe, what they think we ought to do to solve these challenges. So this is a big step forward to force the Senate to do a budget.
Let me ask you about March and the expiration of government, of the funding for the government. Are you going to be willing then to push that deadline 2 months to have it match the debt ceiling while both sides hammer out their budgets?
No, I don't think so. I think what we need to do is to continue spending at the decrease spending at the level where we are right now, which is the $974 billion. That's what the spending reductions from the Budget Control Act of August 2011 brought in place. Continue on that vein until we see what the Senate's plan is. The April 15th is the statutory deadline.
We could see a budget shutdown here if there's no solution on even just extending temporarily funding of the government.
We're not interested in a shutdown. If the president wants a shutdown, again, you noted we're the minority party in Washington. If the majority party wants a shutdown, then the government will shut down. But that's not what we want. What we want is responsible spending, get our fiscal house in order, get us on a path to balance, get this economy rolling again to create jobs. And those are real solutions that we'll put on the table with our budget.
Let me ask you about your political future. Are you thinking about challenging Senator Saxby Chambliss in 2014?
Oh, all of that's, again, too premature at this point. Right now, I'm concentrating on representing the citizens of the 6th District of Georgia.
You're not ruling
and
it
making
out.
certain and making certain that we move forward from an economic standpoint in this country, put real solutions on the table, allow the American people to see the contrast between real solutions in the House and the Senate.
Why aren't you immediately ruling it out?
Why would I rule that out at this point? It's not pertinent for the question of the day.
But it's something you are open to if you're drafted or something like that?
Look, I'm a physician. I spent 20 years taking care of patients. I never dreamed about going into politics. If opportunity knocks, then you have to open the door.
Do you think Senator Chambliss is conservative enough to represent the state of Georgia?
I think the two senators from the state of Georgia have done a very good job representing the state of Georgia.
All right, I will have to leave it there. Congressman
Thanks,
Tom
Chuck.
Price, Vice Chair on the Budget Committee there, part of